People were calling me a scammer. People were saying that I took money for my house, my rotating driveway, and only I knew all of the work I was putting in the back end.
This woman has built the internet's most viral and controversial female-only gym. But this wasn't some overnight success. Her name's Natalie, and over the past 4 years, she's dropped out of university, gone viral on social media, and invested over £100,000 of her own money into launching a gym after being harassed while working out. And then the internet turned on her.
What do you mean you're going to have the idea for a women's only gym? But when it comes time to actually opening, you're going to backtrack and say,
as some people have fairly pointed out, this feels like a pink tax, Natalie, as of course.
But Natalie didn't fold.
I was in here viewing this property 4 weeks postpartum, like fresh out of a C-section. Like I was in a lot of pain, but I knew that I wanted to jump straight back into building the girl spot.
She kept building, kept posting, and the vision kept growing. Over 1 million followers watched the journey. Over 30,000 women joined the waitlist.
In the space of 48 hours of that list, 5,000 women registered with interest.
Because this wasn't just about a gym, it was about creating a safe space run by women for women. And now the doors are finally open. So we're here in South London to find out how Natalie turned controversy into community and launched a business the internet said would never happen. This is More Than Numbers.
Okay, we are with the fabulous Natalie at the G Spot. It's an honor to be here with you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having me.
So can you give a breakdown of what this gym is?
So the Girl Spot is a women's only gym built to tackle gym harassment, gym intimidation, sexual harassment that happens in gyms for mixed women. I really wanted to tackle that and build something to prevent it.
Can you give a breakdown of what the total cost is to get this gym up and running?
Ooh, so we've gone way over budget. I think we're looking at about 130,000 so far. Yeah, I've had to inject a lot of my own personal money back into the business again. So yeah, way over budget.
Let's go back a bit. Was there a point in your personal fitness journey where you felt like a space like this was missing?
Yeah, so when I was about 18 or 19 and I first joined the gym, I had a really, really negative experience. And I remember searching for a women's only gym and there wasn't any gym like for women that was for miles. And that's when me and my business brain, I was like, oh my gosh, there's a huge like gap in the market. How could I also be a part of fixing this problem? But it was based off of one, gap in the market, and two, that emotional aspect of I had nowhere to go. And I thought, oh my gosh, how many other women have nowhere to go?
And let's get to know Natalie a little bit more. Tell us a bit about your background. Did you go to uni? Is this your first business venture? Or how did you even become a creator?
So yeah, I went to University of Birmingham and I was studying psychology, but I dropped out in second year because I realised it wasn't for me. I think the studies and how kind of science-based psychology was, and then I jumped straight into content and social media. I think I jumped straight into content immediately. Obviously being online is a form of a business, not similar to brick and mortar, but it is kind of navigating that business. And then as a fitness influencer, I went down the whole fitness guides, workout guides, and kind of putting that out there to generate revenue, really.
That's amazing. Just a quick one, Natalie. When launching a business, how important would you say is having your own website?
Very important. I think it's important to send people somewhere that isn't social media. I think especially if you have a wide target audience, it's important to remember that not everyone's on Instagram, not everyone's on TikTok, and I think having a solid place online, quick URL where people can see everything about your business is incredibly important.
So we're outside of G Spot, and is it all right if we go inside and get a tour?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's have a look. Before we go inside, we've interviewed over 15 founders, and every single one of them has said the exact same thing. Having a website isn't optional, it's the foundation of your business. The good news, building one has never been easier. Whether you're opening a gym, launching a clothing brand, or any other idea, Hostinger's website builder makes it ridiculously simple to get online in minutes, with no tech background needed. Here's how it works. Head to the Hostinger website builder landing page, scroll down to the pricing section, and choose the business plan. It includes e-commerce capabilities and advanced AI features to help you scale faster and smarter. Select the 48-month option. It's the most affordable plan long-term and gives you full access to all the features at the lowest monthly cost. At checkout, enter my promo code for an extra 10% off. After purchase, the AI takes over. You just answer a few quick questions, your industry, brand name, style, and Hostinger's AI instantly builds a full website for you. Complete layout, branded copy, editable design, all done in seconds. And yes, it includes everything you need. Free domain, professional email, built-in SEO tools, up to 50 pages, no coding required. So if you're ready to start taking your business seriously and build a business that looks like a business, head over to hostinger.com/numbersgame and use the promo code and start building your site today. Let your business speak for itself the professional way. you launched this idea over 4 years ago. What are the first steps to actually opening a gym?
So for me, my first barrier was capital. So my first steps were looking at business loans, looking at grants, seeking investors. I think opening a gym in general, obviously your first kind of task is location. If you don't have a location, you don't have a gym. So I think location, and then what you kind of want the gym to represent. Obviously you have boutique gyms, you have huge gyms that kind of don't have a specialty. My thing was like, what do I want inside of it? What do I want the girl spot to represent? I think it came off the back of emotions. So I wanted it to have something where people came here and they felt something. Like I wanted that to translate hugely.
You raised 22k through GoFundMe, and 20k of that was from Gymshark. How did that happen?
So obviously as a fitness influencer, I've worked with near enough every fitness brand, I'd say, across the board. I was working with Gymshark at the time, and I spoke to the team and I explained to them about wanting to do a women's only gym, and they really understood the mission in terms of just a safe space for women to thrive. And then we did like a mini pop-up in Birmingham at their headquarters. We had about 200 girls in my community come down. Wow. Yeah, we did self-defense classes, working out with the female trainers and just training in an environment for us. And then they said to me that they want to give me £20,000, and I was like, honestly, I was like, it's so, in my brain I was like, oh, the gym's open. Little did I know I needed a lot more, but no, it was so surreal, like so grateful for it, because I think hitting so many financial hurdles with not getting capital, that 20k just seemed like everything. I was like, oh my God, finally some kind of a yes. Yeah, helped bring it to life.
So the gym's called the Girl Spot. How did you come about with that name?
Marketing wise, I wanted it to abbreviate to the G Spot. And it was just like a funny kind of marketing play on words, so that the idea of like men never find it, the G Spot. And again, it landed really well on social media. I think when I uploaded that TikTok, it did like well over 1 million views. A lot of people found it funny. But on a simple kind of note, the Girl Spot is called what it is because it's a spot for girls and women to come and be in a space that's curated for them. And
I've seen you mention you spent like 7 hours a day on profit and loss sheets and making decks. What was that process like? Very tedious, very tiring, very daunting as well. Like, I think when I was doing those profit and losses, I remember going to Costa every day. I think I was 22 or 23, and as a new founder, I've never even thought of profit and loss, you know, like I didn't even know what that meant. I didn't know what margins meant, any of it. So I was sitting in Costa and I was so kind of like dumbfounded by all of this stuff I had to take in, and it was very difficult, I'm not gonna lie, but I knew it needed to be done, especially not having a team. If I didn't do that, nobody else would do that. So I had to really kind of knuckle down and get my head in the game. And during that period, why do you feel like investors didn't buy into the idea at that time?
I think gyms, they've been going on for years, decades and decades. They're not a new concept. So unless you kind of grasp the vision, you probably just see this as another gym, and it's just like there's so many of them out there. Also, like stat-wise, only 2% of funding goes to women. So I knew I was at a disadvantage anyway. And I think, again, a lot of investors are men, so explaining a women's only concept to male investors, they wasn't grasping it.
Probably difficult for them to see the vision, but you absolutely believed in it, and so much so you pivoted, you started creating workout plans. How did that go? And how much money did you make from the workout plans?
So yeah, obviously off the back of all of the no's from investors, I thought, okay, I'm very much like a let me take it into my own hands kind of person. So I thought, how can I generate the revenue that I need so bad? Sorry, the capital that I need so bad. And I was like, okay, let me do low price workout guides. I did 3 or 4 guys. They were £3, £4, £5. And I essentially just put on my Instagram and TikTok, like, hey guys, like I'm generating, like everything from this will go towards the Girl Spot. Like I really need this to come to life. And it went amazing. Like it was just like another £1,000 near enough every single day. And I think people were very keen to support and be a part of like this movement. And I ended up generating about £45,000 from those guys.
So glad you stuck to the vision, because this place is absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Let's have a tour around. Let's see what's here.
Yes.
What would you say are the must-have features in this gym?
So the must-have features, one of them was the facility being pink. I really wanted people to come in here. It's really light, it's really calming and inviting. And obviously we're very much like a trauma-informed space. So when you come in here, you want to feel that kind of emotional support. And then Kalani's Corner, this was an absolute must-have. So this is like our recovery zone. I realised a lot of women don't have a space to unwind in most gyms, and I think it's really important to kind of have that.
Stepping in here is quite zen.
It is, and that was really my intention, so I'm glad you said that. I wanted women to, just kind of sit down and chill, take a breath away from like all the machinery after your workout or before, which is important. So So this is our weight training area. So a lot of machinery, we've got our squats, we've got our deadlifts, leg press, everything that's kind of like plate loaded. So stacking plates on, heavy lifting.
And talk us through the equipment. How did you come about choosing each apparatus?
Yeah, so the equipment was very intentional. I realized obviously in mixed gyms, a lot of women feel intimidated. They don't know what machines are. So a lot of the machines actually double over. So this is like a leg extension and leg curl, so quads and hamstrings.
Right.
And then over there we have an abductor and adductor, so you can do your inner thighs and your outer thighs. So a lot of the machines were very specific for what the Girl Sport ethos is about and breaking down that kind of intimidation. The equipment by itself, these were already done, but our squat racks were obviously custom. We wanted to make sure that it was tailored to women as well, because obviously a lot of machines are made for like the average kind of 6 foot plus man, and obviously it being a women's only gym, we wanted to add in smaller features that allowed it to be tailored to women specifically.
So this part of the gym, we've got this locker room. Looks really nice.
Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to even have the locker room again fall into kind of like the branding. Everything in here, or a lot of things in here, are pink. And they did cost a lot. They were like $4,000 just for lockers. So we wanted the lockers to be quite compact to manage like luggage. So not everyone's coming here with a lot of bags and stuff. You kind of come into the Girl Sport, you've got everything you need anyway. So you just kind of get on with your workout or your class. So yeah, very proud of that little locker room. So over there in that room, we have our like massage room, but she won't be, the woman coming in, she won't be offering just massages. She's an osteopath and a fertility acupuncturist.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so everything in here is very tailored to women's physiology. If you're going through IVF, she can help and support you on that. If you have PCOS, endometriosis, any hormone imbalances. And our hormones, our menstrual cycle, it plays a huge part in our training. You know, like 1 week we can deadlift 100 kg. Then that time of the month comes and we're barely touching 70, you know? So I want people to be able to have consultations wherever they are in their cycle and get support on that.
Seems to be a lot going on here. What space is this?
So this is our like community hub, fuel bar, snack bar. I wanted to make sure that women had access to supplements. Again, a lot of women tend to not take supplements because they think they'll get bulky or manly or something, and that's not the case. So again, this is part of like breaking down that kind of idea, that notion that you can't take supplements. So yeah, we have protein, we have OxyShred cans, these are like pre-workout, we have some protein bars, and then you can have a coffee, you can have a tea.
Damn,
so,
you're spoiling them.
I know. So you can take it and then you can go and sit down in Kalani's corner and chill and connect with members. So yeah, it very much is a community gym. These kind of like little segments are part of bringing people together.
That's a real vibe, man.
Thank
Love
you.
That. Okay, so before we head upstairs, let's talk about your cardio space. Treadmills, Stairmaster, love it.
So yeah, I wanted to keep cardio very limited. Again, in mixed gyms, a lot of women spend hours on treadmills and Stairmasters. One, because they think it's the only way to kind of lose weight, and two, the gym is intimidating, so we tend to kind of stay on treadmill. So I wanted to keep it very limited. Stairmaster, treadmill, to get women into the weight section, like the weight training area and lifting weights. Or if they do want to do cardio and these are being used, they can go upstairs and do a class, because classes are an amazing way to get your cardio in, and we'll be doing a lot of stuff.
Wow. Upstairs. I'm loving the pink.
Yeah, so I wanted the pink turf to be quite a statement inside the Girl Sport, like branding wise and visually, but also just to bring some pink up here to keep that kind of theme going and stuff. And yeah.
You got the boxing bags as well?
Yeah, so I am a big fan of boxing, self-defense. I think it's really important for women to know how to use their strength. There's one thing deadlifting like 100 kg, but can you utilize that strength if you need to? So yeah, we'll be doing self-defense classes, hopefully eventually Muay Thai and boxing. They're like the key staples kind of up here. And we want to do a lot of other classes, so like Pilates for the girlies that like to do that, HIIT circuit, strength training, and our class schedule will actually be kind of color-coded to go with your menstrual cycle. So if you are, for example, at the start of your menstrual cycle, there will be like dotted red on the kind of like class schedule, and then you know to do those if you're at that part. If you're further into your menstrual cycle, let's say your luteal phase, that'll be marked blue, so you know where to train and how to train according to where you are in your menstrual cycle. So yeah, I'm very excited to see the classes kind of roll out up here, especially with our personal trainers, because like even the PTs, they were selected based on their kind of like niches and what they do. Like some of them are like functional training, some are CrossFit, some do steps. So it's really nice to kind of have that balance up here.
These rooms?
Yep, these are our bathrooms. So again, I wanted them to be like a whole kind of vibe. So this is Citrus Breeze, obviously the tiles are orange. And then this is Pink Oasis, my personal fave. And it's all pink in there. And I really wanted the bathrooms to also be like a little bit of an experience. So you go in there, we have the beauty station, so we'll have a hair dryer, some like hair bands, some beauty products for the girlies that want to kind of touch up. And it's basically the same in both bathrooms.
So yeah, we've seen the space, we've seen the tour. You mentioned earlier about the vinyl and how that signifies the privacy, and the location here is quite discreet as well. How did you come about finding the location?
Yeah, so again, like my must-have when it came to location was it needs to be discreet, it needs to be tucked away to coincide with this space being a safe space for women. So I remember viewing this property and I was looking at the footfall. There's very minimal footfall here, and I wanted to make sure it kind of stayed private. It doesn't need to be on like a high street or a retail park. That kind of defeats the purpose in my eyes. So yeah, that's what kind of sold me on this property. Obviously we're based in Wandsworth, but I think even, for example, the location of the gym, the address will never be on Google Maps, it will never be online. And that's like my personal kind of commitment to making sure it stays a private space.
You've shown us around, we've seen the G-Spot, and I think it's time for us to talk numbers.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's talk numbers. So let's talk numbers. Your pricing model, how did you come to the price point you're at now?
So our price is kind of based on like member analysis, competitor analysis. Obviously I've got to look at Wandsworth, the independent and the private gyms around here and stuff. And also just the value that we offer here. Obviously this is a very thought out, curated space. And it's very intentional, it's very women focused. Like you probably wouldn't go to a commercial gym and have access to an osteopath and acupuncturist. So all of that kind of came into it. And I think as well, like our gym, it can be compared to other gyms, but we're not competing on price. We're competing on like impact, on intention, on all of that, you know, like you don't typically go to gyms and then kind of feel the impact of that gym. Gyms kind of run on function. You come in, do your workout, like do your reps and get off the machine. But when you come here, you have that community element, you have that impact of, wow, this space kind of makes me feel better. I have the support, I have sisterhood. So kind of all of that came into.
So what memberships do you have to offer actually?
Yeah, so we'll have our peak membership, which will be £120 a month, and then we'll have off-peak, which will be around £105. And again, that's just to manage footfall, make sure not everyone's kind of like in here at the same time. And I know obviously when the girls get their memberships, they'll probably be very excited to be here. So we have to kind of like manage how many people pass through. But yeah, currently 120 and 105. We probably will roll out more memberships as well. So obviously we have our osteopath that will be here. So see if we can include that in one of the memberships and kind of make a more premium luxe kind of membership as well.
So there's been a lot of reaction to your price point online. What's your response to that?
Do you know what it is? I think no price point would ever cater to every demographic of people. I knew there'd be some people that are like, yeah, 100%, and some people are like, no, that's too kind of expensive. But I think as the founder of this business, it's not kind of my goal to kind of just sit there and look at the reactions. Like I know the value of the Girls Spot Gym, I know everything that's gone into it, and I know my plans when it comes to scaling and franchising. So I think with me it's just kind of like staying tunnel vision, remembering the vision, the mission, and kind of sticking to that.
Too right. There's a lot of people who've signed up before launch day. What's the number on that?
We're on about 31,000 now of women that have registered their interest. Obviously I think from a business standpoint, like I said at the start, I knew there was a gap in the market, and I think numbers like that prior to opening kind of solidify that this needs to happen. This needs to franchise and more women need safe spaces. But also I think like what I'm building here, it kind of reassures me as the owner that I'm like, wow, I've really built a space that people want to be in and kind of want to exist and thrive in as well. So yeah, 31,000 women who have registered their interest.
That's a huge number before launch. How did you build that waitlist?
So again, social media, like the Girls Spot at present is very personal brand led, so I'm the face of it. And I think, again, I have a huge social media following. So when people kind of see me online, whether it's personal stuff or showing up for the Girls Spot, people are like inclined to kind of watch and listen and engage. So if I'm entirely honest, I have not posted the link for the interest form in about 2 months at all, and in that space of 2 months still about 14,000 women have registered their interest. I'm not shoving it in their face. So at the start I posted it a couple times, but in the space of 48 hours of that list, 5,000 women registered their interest.
That's
That was
crazy.
yeah. So from announcement to like 2 days later, and I was like, oh my god, like this is going to go kind of like really far. So
That's amazing. So that's a lot of people who have obviously shown interest. But in terms of capacity in the gym, how many people can it hold?
So capacity is kind of hard to figure out with gyms. It's obviously dependent on the size of the gym, also the equipment you have. But right now we're looking at about 400 to about 450 in terms of max capacity of memberships. But that will be played by ear. We have to kind of gauge peak and off-peak usage, the way that people kind of flow through the gym, the class rota, so how much people are kind of going upstairs and staying down here. But yeah, probably about 400 to about 450.
What other services or classes are there to offer?
Yeah, so we'll have a class schedule that people can do like for free, including your membership and stuff, and then we'll have more specialized classes that will kind of roll out as the rota develops. So and then we also want to build the Girl Spot Online. So the Girl Spot Online will basically just be an online version of the gym, kind of in the name, and we'll be like live streaming on there and getting people to kind of still feel what the Girl Spot gym is about, even if they can't kind of physically be there. So that will be like another huge revenue stream.
This is your first location. Are you looking to franchise the business?
Yes, 100%. I think I want to make sure that every single one kind of still has the ethos and everything at the forefront, or I don't want it to ever be diluted, or it kind of makes it pointless. But I do really want to franchise, probably after London, do Birmingham, Manchester, Leeds. So yeah, if there's any girlies that are in those cities, I'm coming your way. But I think I really want to put one in every town and every city. That's really my goal, because I always say there's probably not a single city where there aren't women that would appreciate a women's only gym.
I'm sure you've had a lot of interest overseas in the US and other places. What are your plans for that?
Yeah, so I get probably DMs every day, like, can you come Atlanta, LA, like Saudi Arabia, Australia? And it's so funny because like I haven't even been to these countries myself. And it's really funny knowing that there's people over there that kind of crave that Girl Spot touch. So yeah, I'm really keen to listen to people and scale and franchise where the demand is.
So a big part of your journey is obviously your influencer role. How did that come about?
Yeah, so I was posting like videos that were on Instagram and stuff, and then people were like, you should post on YouTube. Obviously TikTok and stuff came around the pandemic time, and obviously it being shorter form content, a lot of people jumped on it, me being one of those people, because it's quicker to edit. And then like I just gained so many followers. I think I gained 1 million followers in a month actually on TikTok. Like it was very surreal. And it was just part of that kind of being personal brand led, people knowing you and having that kind of relationship online.
What type of content would you say does well at converting people who are just following you, watching your content, into actually signing up for the waitlist?
So I do a lot of mic content, so wearing a microphone, so people know my voice. If you know my voice, then you're going to feel like you kind of know me. So I think any videos where I'm just kind of like talking to the camera, anything that's got like a kind of whimsical comedy kind of aspect to it, I think, without it actually being comedy, just showing my personality always does well. So I think what allowed me to curate 30,000 women on the waitlist is because I showed and documented the whole journey through that type of content. Like from signing the lease when this place was like white walls, to getting the equipment in and having equipment week, doing kind of sneak peeks. Like it was everyone's kind of constantly been on that journey from Natalie signed the lease in like February to like now standing here with everything in here. So I think, bringing people along the journey.
So I've noticed the phrase pink tax a lot online in this whole process. What is that? So
I think pink tax is kind of like when something is made for women and then whoever is kind of running that business kind of exploits it and charges them a lot of money for it. So you're kind of paying tax on the fact that it's made for women. But the Girl Spot could just not be further from that. I think when you step in here, and like I said, it's only when you're in here that you really grasp what you're kind of getting for your money, and also just the fact that it's community based and all of that. Like gyms don't offer supplements for free, you know, like they're not gonna offer you access to an osteopath. You're not gonna have a recovery zone with massage guns. And like even our workshops, our activations, our events, like we're going to bring specialists in. You can learn about your body, women's physiology. Like it's so much more than just having treadmills, having a squat rack. It's everything you kind of get here. And a lot of people, they do tend to pay for community. That's not exactly what we're doing here, but community is such a huge part here that you gain so much more than just working out.
Right.
You gain sisterhood, you gain friends, you gain kind of like acquaintances. I want to have like a notice board where the girls can put their businesses, and if they do nails or lashes, you can kind of like promote that. So stepping in here is so much more than just, oh, it's pink and it's a higher price point.
So you've mentioned you've got 2 memberships. What is the application process for actually signing up?
Members getting a membership here is kind of based on their values, because obviously we're such a community gym. We want to make sure everyone's kind of aligned with the vision and the mission. We're all part of a community, and it's kind of like a like-minded environment. So they kind of fill out like 3 questions about like why they want to be a member at the Girls Spot, like what it would mean to them and stuff. And then they upload a short video, like a 10-second video saying what their #1 fitness goal is, so that we can ensure that we have the PTs that can kind of cater to whatever they need. So when our members apply and we kind of know their goal, we kind of know which direction we kind of lead them to in terms of PTs. And then the final step is just uploading a form of ID, because obviously we're a women-only space.
Okay, so as part of your journey, you faced a lot of scrutiny along the way. There was even talks of you scamming people. How did this impact you?
So yeah, a lot of the allegations started when I was like 22 years old, so it was very heavy dealing with at the time. But yeah, people were calling me a scammer. People were saying that I took money for my house, my rotating driveway, and only I knew all of the work I was putting in the back end. So when people were calling me that, I was going to like 5-6 networking events in a week to still get investors for my business. So I knew where I stood. I had my own integrity, but that isn't to say that it wasn't difficult at the start. But again, it's part of building a business in the public eye. Like I'm an influencer first, now I'm an influencer and business owner. So when you do build a business in the public eye, you're subject to more scrutiny, more kind of false narratives, and that's kind of like what's been a recurring theme on the back end.
Is there any misconceptions that you would like to clear up?
What I would say is I wish more people would understand the vision and the mission, you know, and again, part of being a founder is that not everyone will, and you can't make everybody understand. So I think if more people understood what I was truly trying to do here in terms of safe spaces for women, women being at the forefront, women's physiology, our menstrual cycles, all of that is what encompasses what I'm trying to do. So I think there's a true misconception about me probably doing this for my own personal brand or for PR, and it's nothing of the sort. Everything in here and in this place and what I'm doing is basically for women.
Yeah, I guess you wear so many hats. You're an influencer, a founder, you're also a mum, a partner to someone. What are some of the key tools you would say are key to actually building a business like this?
I think, do you know, it's balancing all of that, wearing so many hats. It is incredibly hard, but I think the key thing is just sticking to the vision and the mission. I am one person that will always just talk about it. I think if you have that kind of tunnel vision on the end goal, then everything kind of falls in line. I think if you don't really know what you're doing or you're still trying to figure it out, it's easy to get stuck in wearing only one hat. But I think when you really understand it from like a holistic approach, you're like, okay, like I need to tackle this with this hat, I need to tackle this with that hat. So yeah, I think it's key in terms of just balancing everything as a whole so that you can do everything and execute.
What are some of the toughest moments along the way?
So I was in here viewing this property 4 weeks postpartum, like fresh out of a C-section, and I wasn't healed, like I was in a lot of pain, but I knew that I wanted to jump straight back into building the Girls Spot. So yeah, I was standing here with my 4-week-old baby, 4-week post-surgery, just trying to get it done.
It's been an absolute pleasure being here today. This place is so well thought out, everything's intentional, seeing the tour, I can't believe like this is what you put together.
Thank
and
you.
I'm so glad you stuck to the mission. And yeah, no, big up yourself and well done.
Thanks.
And there you have it, guys. This has been More Than Numbers. And if you want to see more episodes like this, like, comment and subscribe, and make sure you hit that notification bell.